Night Vision. Following clues left by our ancestors, we unbury the past to reveal a knowledge of unfathomable value, putting us just a little closer to our own true birthrights. From the secret history of a possible bloodline of Jesus Christ, the secret history of America's founders, to the secret history of extraterrestrial interaction on our planet, here to bring light to the night. Your host for Night Vision Radio, Renee Barnett.
Hey everyone, welcome to Night Vision. I am your host, Renee Barnett, and I'm really excited about tonight's show, so I'm not going to take too much time up front talking about anything else. One reason I'm excited is because we've got a brand new show starting on KGRA on Monday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. It's called Alien Spirit, and it's going to be hosted by my guest tonight, Sev Tok. And I know probably a lot of you are already familiar with her, and that's one of the reasons why we're so excited, because she's well known among the community and very well respected. I've heard nothing but good things about Sev. And and by the way, her new show here on KGRA, Alien Spirit, is highlighted in this month's newsletter. So if you're not signed up for the newsletter, sign up. It's free. Just go in and sign up to be on the mailing list. You know, automatically receive, generally on the first Thursday of each month, the KGRA newsletter. We've got some articles in there and news about shows that we have coming up and that sort of thing, any kind of events. And if you have a story you'd like to share with us and you'd like us to do an article about it, just write to Renee at kgradb.com and let me know. And don't worry about if you say, I'm not a writer. All you got to do is throw some facts down on a page and I'll make them fit together. So love to hear your personal stories. And I know all the viewers and listeners really, really appreciate people sharing their stories. Sometimes it helps them out, you know, if they're a little shy or they're having a few problems with their family or anyone like that coping with their experiences. Anyway, that's enough about all that. So let me introduce someone who probably needs no introduction. I'm going to say, hi, Sev.
Hi, Renee.
Sev,
hi, everyone.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's a delight to be here with you and your listeners.
Well, thank you so much. It's wonderful to have you. I'm so excited to be the first one on the station to nab you for an interview before anybody else, because I'm on the inside, so I get to sneak in there real first. You know, Bill and I have a little I'm going on all the other hosts. No, I better not say that. I'll get Bill in trouble.
Yeah.
But everybody loves Bill. Bill is our executive producer, and he is the heart and soul of KGRA. And we love him to bits. And he does treat everybody fairly and equally. So I don't want to start any arguments. But Sev, you know, to me, when I was working on the newsletter and reading about your story, and of course I went on your website and I read your personal account, which is really, really interesting. Again, you know, as I just mentioned, people love to hear about someone's firsthand experience. There's kind of nothing like it. You know, if I'm relaying your story, it's just not as profound as if it's coming straight from you. And I know that it was probably, 2018 before you went public with your story.
True.
And
yes.
By the way, I don't even know how it came up. I was on the phone with a friend of mine, and I must have mentioned that your show was starting or that I was going to interview you. And he said, I was there in Baltimore when she came out for the first time about her alien experiences. You
What?
kidding?
Yes, that was at Alien Con. It was just 2 weeks after my book debuted, You Have the Right to Talk to Aliens on Amazon. 2 weeks after that, Alien Con contacted me. They're affiliated with Ancient Aliens. Excuse me. And said, congratulations, you're a speaker at Alien Con in Baltimore, of all places, because I had a lot of activity in Baltimore. I graduated from Loyola University. I lived in Baltimore for quite a while. I started my spiritual practice there too. And it was a big deal for me because coming out in Baltimore was very special. My mom and my sister still live there. Most of my friends are still there. And I stood on that stage and I came out for the first time in my life after decades and decades of hiding. And it was life-changing. The room was packed. Everybody was so supportive. And I felt so comfortable and so accepted. And when I was sitting at my vendor table, there were lines of people waiting, not only for the book, but to talk to me because they want to tell me what happened. And many of them would start off by saying, I've never told anyone this before, but I'm going to tell you. And now I say that's like music to my ears. And that's when I realized this is what I want to do. I want to help experiencers. I want to be an experiencer advocate. And that's what I am. And I've been doing it for about 6 years now, helping people around the world deal with their ET contact.
You know, is it when people came up to you, was it a mixture of people who felt they had had a positive or maybe a spiritual experience with ETs, and some, you do hear some people talk about very scary experiences. Was it a mixture of people, or do you think that more people are starting to not have the negative experiences?
No, that's such a good question. The negative experiences. All right. Most of the people who contact me have a positive experience. It is actually pretty normal for an experiencer to have a spiritual awakening. And this is often what happens. Sometimes there are negative experiences. For the first several decades of my life, I was very afraid of the Greys. Very, very afraid. I thought they were evil. I thought they were bad. I thought they were messing with me. And that was my perspective. So this is something I talk a lot about, your perspective. What is your perspective? What are your filters? Mine was victimization. I played the victim, like the best victim in the world. Everything was happening to me. If bad things were happening, it was his fault. It was my ex-husband's fault. It was this fault. And actually, it's the Greys that helped me pop out of my victim vibe and to help me live the most authentic way that I can. I've been on this path of authenticity for a while. And on that path, I had to face the ETs. They were my greatest fear. Now, I was afraid of them because my perspective, because I assumed my ex-husbands were victimizing me. The Greys are going to victimize me too. Everyone's victimizing me. But then I made that switch. And I see that they were helping me. And I help experiencers change their perspective. Just like on Earth, your perspective filters everything. Your perspective matters. How you think, the thoughts that you have in your mind, the activities that you're engaged in, all of this creates an energy. Excuse me?
I guess your belief systems come into play too.
Yes. And also your belief systems about yourself. Who are you? What is your role on Earth? And all of this energy, all of these thoughts and beliefs and everything has energy, and it radiates from you, and it creates your biofield, your quantum energy matrix, your aura, whatever you want to call it. And that radiates out into the world, and that determines your reality. It determines what you're going to align with on Earth, also off Earth. That's why the quality of your energy, what you radiate, is so important on Earth. And also, if you're going through the cosmos looking for new ET friends, because you're going to align with a similar energy. And if you're fearful, if you feel like you're a victim, if you feel powerless, you're going to align with lower vibratory beings. You're also going to filter your experience through that lens. You'll say that they were hurting me, where in reality, they weren't hurting you. It's just how you perceived it. Sometimes there is actual hurt. I don't want to negate anyone that hasn't been hurt, but I'm just emphasizing that how you perceive your reality and your role in it will determine your ET contact. How you process your contact. When we're stuck in that victim vibe, when we think that the ETs are hurting us and we have no control, which is not true, we always have control, we then lose the ability to learn from ET contact, because we get a lot of information from ETs. Information to help us individually and collectively. And if you're stuck in that fearful energy, you're not going to get that message. You're not going to hear that message. You're not going to process that message. ET contact is filled with wonderful information to help you. So in all these years of talking to experiencers around the world, I've concluded that ETs are giving us information about 5 basic topics: about scientific innovation, about the hybridization program, how to strengthen our psychic abilities, potential future fate of mankind, and spiritual self-empowerment. Now, the government or the powers that be don't necessarily want us to have that information. And the ETs realize they can't land in front of the White House. That's just going to cause a lot of death, a lot of confusion. So in order to help transform our society, and we need help, they're coming through us individually. So as the individual transforms, as the individual empowers themselves, then the collective shall transform. It takes each and every single one of us. Each and every single one of us matters, because it's through each of us that we're going to collectively transform. So sometimes people ask me, what can I do to help? What can I, little old me, do to help? Everything feels like it's falling apart. And the answer is really simple. The answer is be the most authentic, fulfilled version of yourself you can possibly be. And then you're going to radiate that love. And that is what's going to help. Now, to some people that seems silly, but it's not silly. It's the reality. For those of us who've made that change, I've gone from victim to non-victim. I've gone from powerless to empowered. And my life has dramatically changed because of it. And it is because I decided to go on this spiritual journey, the internal journey, to look at where I was mentally getting caught up in my head. Why did I think I was a victim? Why did I do that? Why did I marry 2 abusive men? And after my second divorce, I realized, oh my gosh, it's not them, it's me. It's been me the whole time. And so I can't be mad at them. I let this happen. And that's when I realized, okay, I'm going to lose this vibe. And then my ET contact amped up because they heard the call and they were helping me. But it took me a while not to be afraid of them, though. What it took were those 2 red X's on my tush.
Oh, yes. I want to hear that story in a minute. I'm wondering, do you think that your sort of cultural background made you a little bit more open? I know your parents taught you to meditate, or at least had you meditating at a very, very early age, which generally is not done in the West. So I know you were
Well,
born in Istanbul, but you grew up here. But your parents grew up there, right?
yes.
And
I was born
are,
in Istanbul.
are they like Russia in that Russia has always been more involved in consciousness studies and that sort of thing? Were people more open to these kind of ideas?
The individuals are, but I can't say that the government is. Now, there's all
I,
kinds of countries around the world that are engaged in psychic warfare. We know that. United
yeah,
States, China, Russia. I don't know if Turkey is. But going back to my upbringing, I was born in Istanbul. And when I was about 1, we left. We went to Canada first, where my sister was born. And then we came into the United States and we settled in the Washington, D.C. area. And my parents didn't know English. So the reason we went to Canada, Montreal first, was because my dad's entire education was in French. He went to private schools. And he thought, well, when we get to Quebec, I can speak
yeah,
the language. We get to Quebec and I'm a baby and there's my mom and my dad and it's not the same French. It's
no,
not
not
the same
exactly,
French
but
and
it's trying to
they
get
can't
by.
speak English. And I really admire my parents for what they did because they gave up a very, very cushy, very comfortable lifestyle to come here. And I started first grade not knowing English. Now, I think that might explain why some of my psychic abilities are strengthened. Because when I was a little girl and people were talking around me, I couldn't understand what was being said. I didn't know English. And
Hmm.
so I started using my psi abilities to pick up energy, to pick up what was being said, to pick up how that other person was feeling. So I've been doing that since I was a little girl. And then in 5th grade, my parents taught my sister and I how to meditate. We had a walk-in closet, and each one of us would go into the walk-in closet, including my parents. We'd take our turn, and we'd close our eyes, we'd go into a meditation, and when we came out, we'd share with our parents what we saw, what we heard, what we felt. And so ever since I was a little girl, I've been very open to the other dimensions. My parents were very innovative. They're not typical Turkish people of their time at all. I remember when my parents had a lot of dinner parties and their friends would come over, and my parents were always seen as different, very open-minded and very innovative. And when I was in elementary school, my parents were buying water decades ago. We
Oh,
had,
wow.
in the office, you had those big water cooler things. We had that in our living room. And excuse me, in our dining room. And our friends would come over and they would laugh. Why are you buying water? Who buys water? You can get water for free. And my dad would always give them a taste test, a blind taste test of the water he bought and the water from the tap. And the water he bought always won. They always liked that one better. And that's just a tiny little example. And now everyone buys water. But
Exactly.
decades ago, the vitamins, the health food, the meditation, everything that started when I was in elementary school.
Wow. You were fortunate in that, I think.
Mhm.
That
I
would have
think so.
been nice.
I'm very grateful for my parents to expose me to that. But at the same time, there's a downside to that because people can see you as really weird, especially back then. And so when I realized as a young girl that I can pick up information about people that I shouldn't know, and a couple of times I shared it with my little girlfriends and they just looked at me like, why would you say, how do you know that? And so I learned, because I thought they knew it too. I'm like, I thought whatever I was picking up, other people were picking up too. And so I learned to keep my mouth shut. And that
Yeah.
was the beginning of the distress that I had to hide myself.
Yeah. That would be really tough if all this was going on and you couldn't talk to anyone about it. That would be extremely stressful.
My first ET contact, conscious ET contact memories are from the age 10, from 10 to 12. And I
What
keep
was
that
that?
a secret too. So I never told my parents, although I could have. I hid this until just a few years ago. When I was 10, living in Crofton, which is a DC suburb in Maryland, I would find myself outside at night. Like I would go to sleep, and then the next thing I know, I'm outside and standing in grass all by myself. It's nighttime, and I would see a spaceship coming. And this happened so many times between the age of 10 and 12, I lost track. But each time the spaceship would come from a different direction. And when I saw it, I would be so happy. So happy. I was like, yay. It was like my relative. I was seeing my relative or a brother or something. And it just felt so good. It would come, it would land, stairs would descend, and a door would open. And this being would walk out and walk right down towards me. And he looked more human than non-human. He was all in dark clothes, dark top, dark pants, dark hair. He was young, 20s or 30s. And the only difference I saw were his ears, because his ears are just slightly elongated on the very top, but nothing like Dr. Spock. And I wasn't even into Star Trek then. And he was just checking up on me. He was just making sure I was okay. And at age 12, the last visit was different. This time I was with a group of kids, and I had never been with kids before. And we're lined up. We're about the same height. And we're watching the ship go away, fly away. And we were really sad because we knew we weren't going to see him again. And I heard in my head, it's time to get to work. You have work to do. Now, I'm 12 years old. I don't know what that means. And I just ignored it. Now I'm beginning to understand better. I think I understand what that means. And after each contact, I would find myself back in my room. And this is typical for experiencers who've had contact. You're put back where you began. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes some people are like miles and miles away. But in this case, I'd find myself back in my bedroom, and ding, my eyes would pop open, fully alert. No grogginess, no sleepiness, no nothing. I describe it like being plopped into 3D from another reality. You're just dropped in, and you're like, ding, I'm here. And I'd be really confused because my bedroom didn't feel as real as being with that being, my space brother. Being in the bedroom felt fake. It felt like an illusion. Now, I'm 10, I'm 11, I'm 12. This is very confusing to me. And then I just tell myself, all right, just forget about what happened. It's time to get dressed, go to 5th grade, and just try to be normal. And that was my whole life. Just try to be normal.
So when you saw them leave, you were there with the other kids and you were sad, and because you knew you wouldn't see them again. You never did see those particular beings again, or?
Oh, you're bringing up something that I usually don't talk about. Okay. Yeah. I think I saw them again. What happened was in 2016, I made a very surprise, very impromptu trip to Roswell, New Mexico. It just happened like that. It just, the gentleman I was with at the time called me and he said, I have to go to White Sands for work, White Sands missile range.
Yeah.
Why don't you come with me? I'll show you White Sands. I'll take you to Roswell. I was like, oh my God, it's amazing. So I go to White Sands missile range and I couldn't stand it. I never want to go back again. It was one of the worst places I've ever been in my life. White Sands is beautiful. There's a national park where you can slide down these beautiful white sands. It's amazing. It's like you're on another planet. But the missile range itself is energetically dark. And as soon as I got there, in my mind's eye, like all my hair stood up, and it's at the base of this big black mountain. And in my mind's eye, I could just see tunnels and rooms under the ground. And I was not getting a good feeling. I just wanted to get out of there as fast as I could. Well, he wanted to show it to me. we go through the museum, we go through everything. Finally, we leave, and I almost run to the car, and I'm like, don't ever bring me back here again. So then we go off to Roswell. We go to the museum, and then we go to the hotel room, and we're both really tired. Now, my partner at the time, he was neutral. He believed, but he could also not believe. Like, he could go either way. He was neutral. He was very, very supportive of me, though. So we had this experience in Roswell that really freaked him out. So we go to the hotel room. We're both exhausted. He goes to the bathroom. I sit on the bed and I start to flick through the TV. And I think to myself, I wish the show People of Earth was on. Did you ever watch that show, People of Earth?
No.
So good. It was only on, I think, for 2 seasons. It was produced by Conan O'Brien, who I think is an alien himself. And it was this really funny take on an experiencer support group. It's really well done. And it has the Greys, it has the Reptilians, it has the Nordics. It's really funny, and I really liked it. But I knew it was over. I knew it wasn't going to be on. It had ended. So he came out of the bathroom. I stopped the TV on a commercial. He said what he had to say. I turned the TV back on. I didn't even change the channel. And poof, People of Earth comes on. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa. Okay. And he had not seen it. So we watched it and we laughed, went to sleep. Next thing I know, my eyes pop open, ding, and I can't see anything. It's pitch black. Like, I literally can't see my hand in front of my face. But I do hear footsteps. I hear footsteps on the carpet. And I feel him, my partner at the time, getting into the bed. And I say to myself, why was he sitting on the couch? Was it because of the aliens? And I went back to sleep. I wake up in the morning, he's in the shower. And I remember that thought. I'm like, why did I think that? And then all of a sudden, Renee, all of a sudden, boom, I get this download of information. I hear it, I feel it, I see it. And what happened that night was that I made contact with a few Greys, and they were talking to me about a book I was writing back then. It's not the book that I have now. It was another book. But back then, I was afraid of the Greys. I thought they were bad. And so I was like, who are you to tell me what kind of book to write, Mr. Grey? Like, I'm not going to listen to you. That was my attitude. I also, all of a sudden, knew stuff that I didn't know the night before. And they gave me a lot of information about the hybridization program. And they told me there are millions of people involved. There are billions of embryos. And the Greys were killing themselves off because they lost the ability to be empathetic and sympathetic. And so they're engaged in this hybridization program with human beings. For the most part, they pick human beings who have maybe higher than normal psychic abilities, people who are very loving, who wear their heart on their sleeves, intelligent people. And these embryos that they've created are very loving, very kind, very spiritual, very psychically evolved. And I was told, we are on the path of annihilating ourselves, but it's not too late. We can turn around, but we're on it. And if we continue and annihilate ourselves, then these embryos will be used to reseed the planet.
And what do they say we need to do just to not annihilate ourselves?
That's where the information the ETs are giving us about spiritual empowerment comes in. What we were talking about earlier. Basically, take the time to go deep inside of yourself, to connect with your heart. Discover what you think your purpose is for for being here. We all have a purpose for being here. What is that purpose? When you discover what that purpose, when you know what that purpose is, and you align all of your actions, all of your intentions on focus on your purpose, your life completely changes, because now you are living your purpose. Now you're being your authentic version of yourself. And that's what brings in the abundance and the health and the ease and just the overall happy feeling of being alive. Many of us are not happy to be alive right now, but you can be happy to be alive. No matter what's going on around us, you can still find that personal peace.
Can I ask you, is there a battle of good and evil going on?
I look at it in terms of energy.
Or is it just high energy and low energy, or high energy and error?
Error.
Well, like, you know, when people say when you do a bad thing, people call it a sin, but actually the definition of sin is error. You know, just making mistakes in your choices, you know, making bad choices. There just seems to be a lot of rancor and chaos and sort of hate spewing in, you know, not only in this country, but, you know, around the world, but certainly we see it here. And it almost seems like, you know, there's a battle going on here underneath. Is that anything to do with us moving not toward self-annihilation? I mean, is that something that we need to fix this, or else we're going to
but it's very deep. It just comes from fear. So I'm just going to talk about the United States of America. Fear is prevalent. Fear is pushed on us. Fear is the control mechanism. And so most of Americans are quite fearful. And so as long as we allow ourselves to be driven by fear, this is the world we're going to live in. And it takes each and every single one of us individually to decide, I'm not going to live my life through fear anymore. It doesn't work. There's no benefit. I'm sick. I'm depressed. I'm unhappy. We're falling apart. We're killing each other. We're killing children. The number one cause of death of children in the United States is guns.
I know.
So ETs are looking at us like, my God, you have such a long way to go. We have a long way to go. We can do it. We can do it.
We need to snap out of it.
The other thing is, it's not easy. It's not easy to go on a spiritual journey and to start uncovering the dark aspects of you, the negative thoughts that you have that have not benefited you. This isn't easy work. It's work for the brave, but it is worth it because your life changes. You can still find happiness. You can still find peace amongst all this chaos.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned earlier about an experience that you had that where some physical evidence was left behind. Can you tell us about that experience?
About the red X's? About that one?
Yes.
Well, that happened here. I live in North Carolina on the Inner Banks, and I moved here in 2017. And so I came here from Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C., and before that, Baltimore. I came to a very small town. And the second night I was here, the second morning, I was in my kitchen unpacking dishes. Now, at this time, I'm very afraid of the grays. I'm still very afraid of them. And as I'm unpacking the dishes, it feels like a bug bit my butt. And it really hurt. It was like this pinch. So I yelled over to my partner, I think something bit my butt. Will you look at it? He's like, yeah. So I walk over to the living room and I think this is funny. And I bend over and he's looking. He's not saying anything. And I'm starting to get nervous. And then I just had this gut knowing, like, oh my God, this is the Greys. I just knew it. So I was starting to get nervous. I'm scared. Well, did a bug bite me? And he says, well, yeah, there is a little bug bite, but there's also this red X.
Oh,
That red
wow.
X was on my left cheek of my tush. And it was about that big. What's that, about 1.5 inches or so? And it's made up of 9 little circles that look like they were burned into my skin. And when I ran my finger across it on my tush, I couldn't feel them. I couldn't feel those bumps. And they did disappear after a couple of weeks. And this picture has been around the world. People have measured it. It's equidistant. So when I saw that, I was absolutely stunned. He was very stunned. He was shocked. He's a very logical man. And all of a sudden, there's a red X on my tush. And I knew it was the Greys. So I said to him, we're going to pretend like this never happened. We're going to pretend like we never saw this. And we're just going to move on. And he's like, what? I'm like, well, this is what I've been doing my whole entire life. Ignore everything. Ignore all the marks on my bodies. Ignore strange things touching me at night. Ignore lights in the hallway. Ignore sounds. Ignore everything my whole life. That's what I do. It's like, okay. Well, I went around in the house. I was sitting on the chairs. I was in the car, sitting on the car seat. I was on the lawn furniture. I'm like, what could have put this X on my tush without me feeling it? And of course I couldn't find anything. Well, 9 days later, ding, I wake up like that in my bedroom. And once again, I have this download of information, visual, hearing, and feeling. And this time I saw that last night I was on this hospital bed. It looked like a hospital bed in a room that I didn't recognize, that was dimly lit. And I was lying on my side and I couldn't move my arms and I couldn't move my legs. And I felt paralyzed. I didn't know where I was. And I felt something standing behind me and I could move my neck. So I turned my neck and then standing right here was a Grey. I actually drew a picture of him. He had all these wrinkles on his forehead. And okay, here it is.
Yes.
So he's standing right behind me, just a couple of inches from me. And we locked eyes, and I describe it in the book. It was like looking into 2 pools of black oil. And he didn't say anything. There was no telepathic communication. In all of my other contact with the Greys, because I've been in contact with them several times, it was always telepathic communication. This time there was nothing. And that scared me even more. So I was terrified. I turned back around and ding, I'm in my bedroom. And I'm scared to death because I'm thinking, if there's another X on me, I'm not going to be able to take it. That'll push me off the edge. And I get out of bed, I go downstairs, and he was still sleeping. And he always got up before I did, always, but not this time. So I went downstairs and I'm waiting for him and I'm very afraid. And I could have looked in the mirror to see if there was an X there, but I just didn't want to look. I was so afraid. I didn't want to see it. So I waited for him to come down and I asked him, I didn't finish the Roswell story, but I asked him, did anything weird happen last night? He goes, no. And I go, you didn't see anything? He goes, no. I said, well, was I missing? Was I gone? He goes, no. I'm like, all right. So I told him what I remember. And also there was something else to this memory that I had never known before in any of my other contact. When I was in that bed in that room, I had a knowing that I was on the moon. So I tell him this, and then I ask him that dreaded question, will you look at my butt? And so he looks and there's a silence. He's not saying anything. And I knew it. I'm like, oh my God. how am I going to deal with this? Like when I tell the story, I get emotional again. I was so terrified and I was so confused. And all of a sudden, I knew nothing. I knew nothing. I felt like my entire life, everything I knew was just pulled right out from underneath my feet. I didn't know why I was talking to aliens. I didn't know what they wanted from me. I didn't know who I was as a person, as a human being. I didn't know who we are as a race of humans. I knew nothing, nothing, nothing. I was just suspended in nothingness and fear.
Mm.
And I started to cry, and he asked me, well, how can I help you? I'm like, I don't know. And so I calmed myself down. And then for the first time in my life, I admitted I need help. I never admitted it before, but I had no idea who was going to help me because I was not in the UFO world. I wasn't listening to shows and reading books and nothing because I was scared of it. I had no idea who would help someone who came in contact with a gray. So I just told myself I'm just going to let it naturally, organically happen. I'll find someone. And I did. A few months later, a friend of mine suggested that I watch the movie Unacknowledged by Dr. Stephen Greer. And I did. And that lit something inside of me. And when it was finished, I went to my computer and I said, okay, this is it. I am sending the picture of this X to somebody, but to whom? And all of a sudden in my head, I heard MUFON. And I had what that was. So I'm like, what is that? So I Google it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's a real thing. Mutual UFO Network, the largest research organization in the world regarding this topic. And on the website was a picture of Kathleen Marden. And as soon as I saw her face, I told myself, she's the one, she's going to help me. And so I emailed her and she responded right away, offering to talk to me. She said she's never seen an X like that before. And so
Kathleen is the niece of Betty and Barney Hill, right?
yeah, Kathy's the niece of Betty and Barney Hill. She's a researcher
Right
at
across the
UFOs.
street. Didn't she live right across the street from them when they were having their activities? Or maybe I just made that up in my head. It seems like I recall.
Kathy's family?
Yeah.
Oh, Kathy's family was very, very close. And if I do remember correctly, at a time they were living in cross proximity to each other, but I'm not 100% certain if she was living across the street. I'm not sure.
Right.
If you read Kathy's books, you'll know the answer to that. I've read them, but I can't remember. Kathy has now become a dear friend of mine and my mentor. Yeah. And
I'm sorry. I had the pleasure of knowing Betty fairly well, and I just loved her to pieces. Just loved her to pieces. She's so smart, and
she's
I mean,
funny.
she was
funny
with it till the end. Yeah, she was funny. She was smart. She was very straightforward. She was very tell it like it is.
Do you know Kathy? Did you meet Kathy?
You know, I did meet her once. And I think it was a MUFON conference. I was there. I don't know if I was there for a TV show I was working on or something like that. I don't remember why I was there. It seemed to have something to do. I, worked in television, something to do with that. And I was introduced to her. And I almost feel like I interviewed her for something.
Oh.
It's been a long time ago. So anyway, but yeah, I loved Betty. Barney had been gone a long time. He had passed pretty early on.
He suffered so much. He suffered. It's really sad.
Yeah.
And so that's why I help experiencers so they don't have to suffer like that. You don't have to suffer like that. And if you would like to contact me, you can email me, Sev at planetsev.com, or go to my website, planetsev.com, and just fill out a few questions, not very long. It's very, very private. This is very private. I'm really into privacy. Contact me, fill out a few questions, tell me what happened, and I'll contact you. And I'll help you as much as I can. I also offer private ET consultations, and I do soul purpose sessions and third eye journeys. And I help people find their purpose, connect with their purpose, and live their life purposefully, to find joy and to find peace. And these are sessions that involve interdimensional information that comes through about my client by plugging into their energy, by plugging into their guides, my guides, and also just picking up information that floats around us, because we live in this matrix of information, and we can go in there and we can pick out information too. And so I write about 7 to 8 pages of information about my client. Like, I don't know anything about my client. The client just comes up on the screen. It's Zoom, because I do it with clients around the world. Hello, hello. And then I just start writing. And it's about 7, 8, 9 pages worth of information about why they're here, their purpose, how they can manifest it, what their best career paths are, and how they can manifest them. And a past life comes up that explains something that's going on now. And also, most importantly, are some mental beliefs that my client might know about or not know about that's causing them from achieving, from success, from progress. And then we talk about how you can redesign your quantum field. You can redesign your aura. You can redesign it to manifest, to align with what you want. It all has to do with the mind. So I help my clients change how they think so that they can redesign their quantum field so that they change their reality. We can think of every thought you have kind of like a movie projector in your head. And every thought you have, the energy of that thought gets projected right out of your head, out into the whole world. And that's what you're telling the whole world. You're either telling the whole world, I'm a happy person, I'm a content person, I'm a successful person, I'm fulfilled, or you can tell the world, I'm sad, I'm miserable, I'm angry. And then all of that will come reflected right back to you. It's like a self-professing, what am I trying to say?
Prophecy.
Yes.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. That's really good. You explained that really well.
Oh, thank you.
I do believe that, thoughts are power, and what we put out, is really important. Not only
it's everything.
Not only how we affect other people, but then how it does reflect back on ourselves. So
yeah. And this is not easy work, but it's worth it. And if you have someone that wants to help you, like me or others, there's others that also do this kind of work. I highly suggest that you get in touch with people who can help you do this. Maybe you just need a kickstart. Maybe you just need to learn how to do it, and then you can go off and do it on your own. I also do coaching and soul development series for people who want to work through the process. Yeah, kind of like I hold your hand for you a little bit and help you through it, so you don't have to do it by yourself.
Yeah. Now, what can we expect from the show that we'll be able to see right here on Monday?
Yeah. Alien Spirit with Sev. It's you can watch it on KGRA. You can also watch it anytime on my YouTube channel, Alien Spirit with Sev. So my premiere episode, I'm quite excited about it, is with Jason Paget. And I discovered Jason 15 years ago. And I've been talking about him ever since. He got coming out of a karaoke bar in 2002. He was brutally mugged. He suffered brain injury, and that brain injury changed his vision. And he could see the energy of everything. Let me show you. Let me see. And so he makes these amazing drawings by hand of the energy that he sees. I'm going to show you just a couple of his drawings.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I know you don't want to have dead space, but here, okay. Here's how he sees the hand.
Oh,
That's how he sees the hand, and that's his drawing. And this is how he can also see numbers. This is how he sees the number pi. Isn't that beautiful?
oh my gosh.
And he says pi is just made up of a whole bunch of triangles. So there really are no true circles in nature. It's just a whole bunch of triangles put together, close, 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 so it looks like a circle.
Oh my God.
Yes, this is my first guest. It's fascinating. And he went from being a bad student to now being a mathematical theorist. And he
Oh my
has this theory called the quantum information holography theory, based on what we were talking about earlier, that life is merely a projection.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And we also talk about life after death. We talk about time travel. Oh, there was something else I wanted to say, and now I forgot. I can't remember.
Now, that picture of the hand, for those of you who are just listening and not seeing, it was a picture of a hand that had some really interesting light lines going through it, and a sort of a central light in the middle. Now, when you said he did, that's a hand. That's what a hand looks like to him. Is that someone in particular's hand, or does everybody's hand look like that?
Generally speaking, everybody's hand looks like that. Generally speaking, with like that glow right in the middle.
Yeah.
I wonder if that could be a chakra.
And did he explain what that is, or do you know what that is?
He talks about it. Yes.
The light
And
in
then
the middle?
I also asked him, we talked about the formula E equals MC squared, and he drew it. And what it looks like shocked me. It surprised me. I don't want to say what it looked like, but E equals MC squared does make a beautiful symbol.
Wow.
I asked him if God is a mathematical symbol, because I was wondering if what he's seeing is just divine energy, just what we call God. Is this what God is?
No.
And then I got to ask him a question I've been waiting 9 years to ask him. And I'm not going to tell you what that is, but finally, because when I saw.
Will you ask him on Monday?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll have to listen then to hear what you're going to say. I'll be curious. That's going to be great. Well, I'm so glad to get to know you and to welcome you to KGRA. It's so wonderful to have you with us.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but there's a little extra something special too. KGRA asked if I would do 4 mini shows a month. They're only about 15 minutes. And so the first one is actually a backstage conversation between Jason and I, where I didn't expect to share it, but it was so good. I ended up sharing it with Jason's permission. So that's my first 15-minute mini show, which is exclusive only to KGRA members. No one else can see that content.
It's only wonderful. Yes. Join us. There's lots of good stuff, and we're adding stuff all the time. But I also wanted to, can you talk about your book a little bit?
Yeah, thank you.
Just tell us a little bit about it.
After I talked with Kathy, I wasn't sure what I was going to do, because when I talked with Kathy, I did not want anybody to know that I was talking with ETs, especially my clients. Like, there was no way my clients could know. That was not going to happen. So I asked her, what should I do? And she's like, I can't tell you that. You have to figure that out. So a couple of months later, I woke up and I declared I'm writing a book and I'm coming out. And when I went to bed that night, I didn't have those feelings. I don't know what happened that night, but when I woke up, I was like, I'm coming out. And I sat down and I write the book in a couple of months, and then it debuted on Amazon, and then my whole world changed. My whole life changed. It's the best thing I've ever done coming out. The best thing I've ever done.
Wow. That's so great.
Mhm.
I can only imagine because, I mean, how could you really be you if you
That's right.
didn't?
That's right. And I want to be me. We all want to be ourselves. We all have this divine desire to know what our purpose is. We're all on that search. And so that's what my soul purpose sessions do, help you discover what your purpose is. And then together, let's help you manifest it.
Yeah.
This is a craving desire within all of us. Why is that? Why is that? Something
Yeah.
divine in each one of us. And for those of us who don't live our purpose, we can feel it. And that's where the frustration comes in. That's where the anger comes in. That's where the violence comes in. Because you feel lost. You don't know who you are or what you are. You don't feel like you fit in at all.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to tune in on Monday to hear the rest of that story. And I hope everybody else will too. I hope you join me again next week, right here, same time, same channel, for
And
another
so my shows are only going to appear Monday night and maybe stay on KGRA for about a week. But then you can watch it anytime you want on my YouTube channel, Alien Spirit with Sev.
All right, great. Well, thank you, Sev, for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
I loved it. Thank you so much, Renee. And thank you for everyone who listened and watched.
All right. Well, thank you. And I will talk to you soon. And I will see you on Monday on Alien Spirit right here on KGRA TV. Take care. Good night, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye.